Welcome to the Finartech podcast, where finance, art, and technology converge. We're your hosts, Yolanda and Sarad.
I got drip and I got soul, so I got drip, so they gotta feel me before I go out or I flee. Little mama know it cool, ain't got no fleece. Tryna rule the world, I let these run the street. I came up once before, that mean I can repeat. And I gave y'all number truth whenever I'm on a beat.
What's up, everybody? This is Sarad, Davenport, and I'm here with the Finartech podcast. I got my co-host here, Yolanda. And Yolanda, tell people who you are and what we're going to do today and who we're talking to.
Okay, hey y'all, what's up? My name is Yolanda Rush. I am the co-founder of Rush Tech Group. I am a lover of all things art, and like Sarad said, I am also his co-host here with Finartech Podcasts. So we get down and dirty with all things finance, art, technology, and all things in between. And today we have a very special guest, Rovelle Brown of Millennium Security.
Let's give it up for Rovelle.
Hey.
Yeah.
So welcome, Rovelle.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad you took some time out to come and talk to us, because I know it's a lot of people around that probably know you by face, and they know that you are a businessman in the community, but they're not quite sure what you do and what's up with Millennium Security. So
Right.
give us an overview of what you do and all that good stuff.
Well, good. First of all, thank you both for having me today on the podcast.
Yeah.
So Millennium Security. We've been in business about 22 years now, serving the Charlottesville area. Also a little bit in Harrisonburg, and we touched a little bit in Richmond, Virginia. Pre-COVID, we employed about 120 employees. COVID, now we have about 80 employees that we employ. We specialize in private security services. What I mean by private security services, we provide armed and unarmed security guards to the community, businesses, private companies. So anybody need security, we provide. We also own our own training academy here. So we train our officers here. We train the community, such classes as defensive classes, baton training, anything to deal with security training, we do it. So a third part of our company, we also have a transportation company. So we have three aspects to our company. We have the security portion of it, we have the training academy, and we have the transportation company. Now, as far as the transportation company, we provide transportation services for weddings, private tours, wine tours. Anybody need to get anywhere to the airport, we provide those type of services. So that's pretty much a lot in a small nutshell. What we do here in Charlottesville.
Wow, that's a big deal. And so you guys do a lot of partnering with companies and organizations. But one thing that really stood out to me with your training academy, you said that y'all offer a list of services. And what do y'all do? Because it's just like a mad rush for women to now get their license to carry. Can you help us?
Yes. So we do offer that type of training there. We offer concealed weapons training.
Okay.
It's a one-day class. You can come in. We'll teach you all the aspects of how to break down a weapon. How to break it down, how to fire it. With simulation bullets, you can't shoot a real gun. So we teach you all that, how to clean it.
Okay.
And we also teach you techniques how to use the gun as to defend yourself. In case you run out of bullets, you miss the person 4 or 5 times.
Right, because we're gonna start out with our eyes closed like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
You learn how to use that as a weapon.
Right.
So we do that type of training. We do it in house, and we also can do it at a business. People want to come out for us to do it also.
Okay. That's what's up, because actually when I did my concealed to carry training, or whatever the proper term is, I drove all the way to like Louisa
Right.
or something, because maybe a lot of people don't know that you guys offer that service.
Mhm.
So, ladies, if y'all are into that and you want to get your permit to conceal to carry, because these folks are crazy out here, go see Millennium Security.
That's right. That's right.
So how did you get into security? Like, what made you go into that as a business, from a business perspective? Like, what led you down that road?
Right. So long story, man. So, like Yolanda said, a lot of people know my face here in Charlottesville. They know me outside of security. So I was the magistrate for this area for 18 plus years.
Oh,
Okay?
wow. I didn't know it was that
Right.
long.
So that was my background, was work for the Supreme Court. I had background in the criminal justice field. So, working in the criminal justice field, I knew a lot of people, law enforcement, bail bondsmen, and so forth. I got my start in private security by a bail bondsman. He came into the office one day and said, "Hey man, I'm taking over a local country bar, and I need some help doing some security." He said, "Do you know anybody?" And just happened, I said, "Well, man, I know a couple guys, that work in corrections. Maybe we can get a couple guys together and start help you out."
Right.
And so we got a couple guys together, worked for the women's prison in Fluvanna, and we started our security working at a country bar here in Charlottesville.
See, you started small.
Just 5 of us.
Wow.
Yeah, up to 120 employees pre-COVID. So that's how I really got my start. We started. I just did it part-time while I was working for the Supreme Court, till it got to the point where I felt it was time to take it over full-time.
Now we got to back up, because you dropped like
Right, a whole rack of jewels. Right,
hold on.
exactly.
You said you work for the Supreme Court. So talk to us a little bit about that, how the connection between the magistrate and the Supreme Court, how that worked, how you got to that place, first of all.
Right, so...
Because normally we duck in the Supreme Court, the magistrate, everybody.
Right.
We want no part.
Right.
Yeah, that's heavy, but it's heavy when you say Supreme Court. To me, that means like that's power. That's not a lot of wisdom and understanding and knowledge base. The Supreme Court. Like, how did you get into that space?
Right. So my degree was in criminal justice. I was working when I got out of college. I worked as a planner, a regional planner here in Charlottesville. So I was working outside of my degree. So I saw the job posting for a judicial officer in the ads. So I applied for it. I got hired.
Who did you know?
I didn't know anybody, but I'm gonna tell you a story how I really got hired by the Supreme Court. So my roommate, I don't know if you all remember, it used to be a black-owned restaurant downtown called Noelle's Catering.
Yeah, I know Noelle.
Right. So my roommate was Alex Noelle. Me and his roommates at Virginia Union. His mom owned Noelle's Catering downtown.
Okay.
So I always eat lunch down there when I worked at the Thomas Jefferson Plan District downtown.
Okay.
So I go and I speak to everybody. I speak to everybody, "Hey, you doing?" So I always see 2 black ladies in there that I always should speak to.
Right.
Just speaking to them out of general. So when I applied, I just remember like yesterday, when I applied for the position, I got called for an interview. When I went into the manager's office located downtown, when I went into the office, opened the door,
Yeah.
there was the same lady that I used to speak to every day.
Look at
every
God.
day. And we like, so, so the interview was a kick. So, there I started part-time. Back then they had part-time managers. I started in Fluvanna, Louisa. I was an on-call magistrate, so I carried a pager.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
I got called out when they need me. That got old after a while, trust me. Getting called out 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, that got old. So a full-time position came open here in Charlottesville, Albemarle. Then I moved to Albemarle. That's why I finished my career out there
Okay.
in Charlottesville.
Okay.
But that's how I pretty much started, got involved with it, man.
That had to be tough, because for them to ring your line at midnight, 2, 3 in the morning, what if you just was like hanging out or doing something personal, and maybe you had like a little drink or something like that, and then you got to go to the magistrate's office and get over there to lock folk up.
Right, it was tough.
That's
You
crazy.
had to be very disciplined, not to be, just for not to be out drinking, partying, because you never knew
Exactly.
when you're gonna get that call. Sometimes on weekends, you gonna call 48 hours. So
Right.
You couldn't really be hanging out, drinking, none of that stuff. You never know when someone's gonna act up and you gotta get called out.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So for when I met you, which was back in the day, it was always good because we knew if Rovelle was around, he would be the designated driver. Because you was always, it just seemed like you was like pretty straight laced, like no drinking. That's because I didn't understand you were actually on call for work.
Yep.
But we'd be like, ooh,
Yep.
he's good because he is the designated driver.
Drink.
He ain't doing nothing.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, but that laid the foundation for me for everything. I enjoyed my time there. So I was there almost 18 years. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of connections in the community because of what I did. So I say got to the point where I left the bench when I ran for elected office. So I couldn't run for elected office and still be a magistrate with conflict of interest. So I resigned. Ran for public office.
So wait a second.
Oh, okay.
You did. Here you go again with dropping the jewels. You got to give us time.
Got you.
Okay, so you had to resign as magistrate before you could run.
Right. When I announced it, I had to resign.
But wasn't that scary? Because this is like your, you know what I'm saying? This is your career.
Right.
This is solid. You've been here 18 years. And because a lot of us are on the fence with that today. It's like, I got this paycheck coming every 2 weeks. I got these insurance benefits. And the man that made you feel like you can't get that on your own, right? And so that had to be scary for you to actually make the call and say, I'm ready to dump the 9 to 5 and to now move on and take a chance. You gambled on yourself.
I gambled, but like I said, I had a backup plan, and that was Millennium.
Okay.
I knew I had that backup plan. I knew the company was at a point where I could do that, where I can say, you know what, I can do this. If I win or lose, I got something to fall back on.
Boom.
And I knew if I lost, I could have went back to the master system. That wasn't an issue. But when I didn't win, I made the decision, hey, I'm not going back.
Got it.
I can focus on this. The time I'm giving the Supreme Court, I can get that time to myself and build my business. I'm gonna tell y'all what, that was the best decision I ever made.
Wow.
Start your own business, entrepreneurship. So I wish I did a long time ago.
But you did. I didn't even know that you had been in business for 22 years. See, you built your business brick by brick by brick. People see the outcome today and they want that today. You know what I'm saying? They just started a year ago, 2 years ago, and they want the accolades. They want everything today.
Gotta put the work in.
Gotta put the work in.
So you said that you wish you had started your business years ago. What makes you say that? Like, why do you say that now? In retrospect, 2020 vision. Why you say that now?
I say that I wish I started working in a full-time basis, not a part-time basis, because I see the growth that I put into the business as me working full-time instead of part-time. So when I say when I was working part-time, I'll go into the office or go home and work. When I used to lead the master's office, not really focusing on the business, just making a little money here and there. But when I really focused on it full-time, I was really out in the community, meeting with people on a full-time basis. That's when the business blossomed. That's when it blossomed.
Got it. That's the scary part.
Yeah, so it's like when you really go all in, when you're able to go all in, is when you can really see your business grow.
Right. Exactly. Put the effort in. And so I was fortunate also because my partner, he had made the decision also to retire from the UVA Police Department. So both of us was now full-time into the business. My business is a partnership. I'm a partner.
And who? What's your partner's name?
Marvin Johnson.
Oh.
Yeah, Marvin.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So during this time we had Millennium on, both of us doing it part-time. So when I lost the election, when I made a decision I wasn't going to go back, he made a decision he was going to retire. And we both went into it full-time.
Now, talk about the election, and we just want to get the clarity on it. What did you run for office for?
I ran for Fluvanna County Circuit Court clerk position. The clerk there, he had been there for years, so he decided that he was going to retire. Okay, so that was an open seat. And so I decided to put my bid in for it, and I ran for that elected position. It was 5 candidates in the race, so it was votes were split all kind of ways.
Were you the only black man?
Yes, I was.
Were you the only minority?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. Yeah, so votes got split. I think I lost maybe like 800 votes, something like that. Maybe a little more, a little less.
Okay.
It wasn't a lot, but that was a learning experience.
Yes.
I tell you, that very learning experience. I probably would not do it again.
What did you learn?
Well, first you got to learn discipline. One thing that I have a hard time doing, and I had a hard time doing it during the election, is asking people for money.
Right.
That was the hardest thing for me. Going to asking for fundraising. I'm not used to asking nobody for nothing.
Right.
So for me to get out there and ask people, hey, can you donate to my campaign? That was kind of, I had to kind of suck it up and do that. I learned the diversity in Fluvanna County. I know that it's still, a lot of people that don't like us in the county. I learned that a lot. They cut my signs up down there. They ran over my signs.
Wow.
There was no vote for me. So you learned a lot.
Just on the strength of you being a black man.
That's right.
Running for this position, they wanted to know who the hell does he think he is to come through here.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. So,
but that's your hometown.
My hometown.
Born and raised.
Hometown. I'm born and raised.
Your parents lived there at the time.
Yes.
You had every right. You had been the magistrate for what?
Years.
15, 18 years at that point. Overly qualified. But just the fact, but see, that goes back to God just had a different plan.
Different plan for me. Different plan. But it was a good experience. I wouldn't, trade that experience for anything. Getting out in the community, learning my community, my county that I was born and raised in, places I really never been to since I was born and raised in Fluvanna County. I went to during this election. I met some outstanding people, in the county during this time, and that supported me. They gave me encouragement. They helped me with the campaign. So it was a good experience. And like Yolanda said, from that election, people still, recognize me. I still belong. I got still involved in the community. I'm still involved in the community with other organizations and so forth. So it helped out a lot.
It does, because the bottom line, to do something like that shit takes heart. It takes heart. It takes confidence. It takes work. It takes time. That's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Your average brother is not just jumping up. Even if he's got all these accolades, he's not just jumping up and running for office. So that's why I said you have mentioned it as a loss, but from the outside looking in, it's just like a huge win in my eyeballs. Just the fact that you knew that you were qualified and that you had the guts to do that shit in a county like Fluvanna. It's a big deal.
Big deal.
I think exposure, right? You probably expose your name and what you're connected to in a whole nother way.
I did. Because most people that knew me from the magistrate side, or they knew my mother because she was very involved in the community and so forth. So like I said, they got an opportunity now to learn who Rovelle Brown really is.
Understanding you're not the cops out here. You ain't 12 and shit.
Exactly.
Exactly. Or Miss Brown's son, because like you said, I know your mom was involved in the school system for a very long time. Yeah, so you were under that veil for a long time because you couldn't really mess up like that and have your mom out here looking crazy. Yeah.
So, this is the Finartech podcast where we talk about like finance, art, and technology and how they converge. And so, one of the questions that we're asking folks is, in your business, how has, financing, even art, like, people need business cards, branding, all of that, and technology, how has that all played a part in your enterprises? How have you had to use those things in your enterprise?
So let's we start with technology. Technology has been a huge booster for our company. Advertisement. We do a lot of advertisement on social media. We did a lot of advertisement over TV stations, more so Channel 19 News. Our training academy. We are looking at now expanding to do stuff online. A lot of people still are scared to come back into the classrooms.
Right.
So we gotta look at other avenues to get people to get more interested in taking classes. And so what do? We have to go online and do it.
Correct.
So the infrastructure, we're trying to get that still built.
Okay.
You know, the modems and so forth
Sure.
to hold the capability to do online classes.
Right.
You know, business cards, you know, advertising in newspapers, you know, neighborhoods like Farmington, you know, stuff like that.
Oh, so do you guys do like the signs, like the
newsletters, the magazines and so forth, you know, advertise and stuff like that.
Wonderful.
Right.
And now Vinegar Hill.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
which is a black paper,
Yeah.
or publication, so to speak. So
Right.
that's wonderful.
Right. Even for our officers, technology now, everything they do, their reports are on digital. You know,
Okay.
you know, no more paper stuff anymore.
Right.
Clock ins, you know, no more punching in. Everything's done on your phone. So technology is where we're going now. You know, and I gotta have a cell phone. You gotta do your reports on your cell phone.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So have you guys thought about branching off into cybersecurity?
we haven't.
Okay.
We haven't.
Okay.
But all options on the table.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
We haven't thought about it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
Yes.
world, but it's still under that security blanket.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Let's get deep. I want to get deeper into the finance piece because, like, you all scaled up a business, and like, let the people know about some of the things that you had to learn or do to scale up a business, maybe as it relates to the finance piece and things like that. What did you have to do differently, or how did you have to think differently when the business began to grow?
Right. Good question, man. You know, still, you know, we still learning finances. You know, we still have our struggles with finances. You know, more you grow, the more expenses you have, the more payroll you have. So, you know, most recently we had to learn how to make funds come in faster. Because if you don't, you're spending more out than what you're bringing in. So you have to kind of rethink, you know, your finances that way. You got to learn how to retain your employees.
Right.
Retain your employees. So what can I do to retain them? Yeah, well, you got to increase your finances. So we offer 401k package.
Nice.
We offer health and dental. That's an expense to the company.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
an expense to the company. So now I got to learn how to absorb that cost somewhere. So what do? Do I increase the billing for the clients?
Right.
You know,
Right.
but you know, here in Charlottesville, you know, it's a very competitive market sometimes with security, so you don't want to outbid yourself.
Right.
So now you just got to look at, you know, how much you're really going to pay your employees, how much you're going to bill them. Change your bill structure. Do you bill bi-weekly? Do you bill monthly? So a lot of things you got to take into consideration as far as finances. You know, we've grown. I'll just be honest with you. Man, 1 year we grew $2 million. Then we did $2 million more than we did the previous year.
Wow.
You know, that's how much we grew overnight.
Wow.
Overnight.
Well, it sounds like you're fiscally responsible on another level.
Right.
So do you guys have like a dedicated accountant?
Yes.
But even in addition to having a dedicated accountant, like, this is beyond just a few invoices coming in, because you just hit us with a whole different term.
Right.
You say $1 million, okay? So talk heavy to me. How in the hell do I know how to manage $1 million business? Like, you got to know something about finances. Do you?
You gotta have a budget.
Right.
You gotta have a budget. You gotta stick to it. You gotta stick to it.
So no Chanel bags, no brunching every Sunday,
no, none of
and
that.
all this nonsense
none of that
and
stuff
shit.
going on. You gotta have a budget.
Right.
Yeah. So,
and stick to it, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just get your budget. Sometimes they're going to fluctuate with your contracts because throughout the year you might lose the contract, which we never hope you do.
Right.
And sometimes you might gain a contract, so your budgets could kind of fluctuate a little bit. But you you kind of know how much you want to make throughout the year. You know what your major expenses are. Our major expense, of course, is insurance.
Right.
Insurance is our major thing, especially when you have officers that are armed that carry firearms. So that's our biggest expense is insurance. So you got to budget for that.
So do you have a background in finance?
I do not. So we hire somebody to do all that. Yeah.
And so you would highly suggest
Yes.
for businesses to really invest in a financial person
Yes.
to help them get their finances figured
Yes.
out in terms of scale.
Yes.
Okay.
So at what point in your business did you say, we better get some help in this area with finance? Or did you start out with that intact?
I just thought that intact, but I'll be honest with you, when I first realized that I needed to get some, we need to get somebody to handle that stuff. It was 1 year when RS came back and told me I had to pay a whole lot of money back at the end of that year. I was like, oh shit.
Right, exactly. Shit is right.
Yeah,
Okay. Shit is real out here.
Next year we gotta do something totally different because I can't be paying this.
Right, exactly.
This is a whole different level right here.
And that's the scary stuff for small businesses and just businesses in general.
Right.
To have a man get in contact with you, because a lot of us would just cut and run.
Right.
Can't run from them boys.
You can't run from them, man. So, luckily with the RS, you can set up payment plans and so forth. But when, that counter came back and say, hey, you got to pay this amount of money back because y'all had a significant increase in sales over the year. Like, what?
Right.
What? I mean, where do we go? What did we miss here?
Right. Exactly.
I've been there because sometimes you be like, that money gone.
That money gone.
But you gotta find it.
You gotta find it.
You gotta find it, man. So when that happened to me and my partner, we sat down and said, hey, we got to do something a little better. And that was the 1 year that we had a significant increase in contracts throughout the year. And so we hadn't really budgeted for that. We just boom, we went up so high. And we just have time to plan for it, And,
so a lot comes with that scaling.
Right.
You guys just really took off. And so now you're just doing business on a whole different level at this point. Right. So at that point, H&R Block and TurboTax is not cutting it. Right. We're going to have to step our game up here.
Yeah, you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you.
Go get you a CPA, people.
Yeah, gotta
Exactly.
get it. You gotta get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up. So in terms of, because you mentioned that you have a bunch of employees. So with you having a lot of employees like that, pre-COVID and post-COVID, how does your ecosystem work in terms of giving back to the community? Because with you employing all these people, that's a huge asset to the community. And then they're getting jobs from Black men. So you guys will give people a shot when no one else will.
Right. Well, we will, but they have the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services, they have a criteria which you have to meet. Okay. In order to be a licensed security officer, you can't have any felonies on your record.
Right.
At least within the past 10 years.
Okay.
If you do, you can appeal it. Or you can have any type of misdemeanors within the past 5 years. Okay. So if you don't have any of that stuff, then yes, we can hire you. And we will try to give you a chance. We have a lot of young brothers that come in asking for jobs, and we give them a chance. Like you said, they got prove us wrong. And we put them out there, and see how they do.
That's big.
Yep.
That is big.
Yep.
Because with just the job market in general, sometimes, or I would say in my experience all the time, it feels good when you're sitting across the table from someone that looks like you when you're asking for something. you know. So there's always that exchange in business. But when you're sitting across the table from someone that looks like you and you're asking them for a job, you know, it helps in a big way. It does. So that's a huge service that you guys are giving the community.
We don't ever see that in corporate America.
You do not.
I know jobs I've been to, you know, interview panels I've been to. We don't see a lot of people look like us.
You
on
do
the table.
not.
Yep, straight facing you and
exactly
looking at you, you know?
right.
Yep. Yeah. So.
Wow. So this is excellent. So one of my final questions for you is, for small businesses or for people that want to actually start a business as an entrepreneur, what is your main piece of advice? Because you told us, basically, I didn't know that myself. You started just building brick by brick by brick. So what is your main piece of advice that you would give people that are interested in starting their own business, or for small businesses that are looking to scale?
All right. Well, what I would say, try not to have a lot of overhead when you start your business. Okay. Now, we started our business, we had zero overhead. I mean, no more than pay your license to become a business. You know, so try not to have a whole lot of overhead if you can help it. I know it's kind of hard for some businesses to do that. I know what kind of business you're going into, but try not to have a lot of overhead. And just use your resources. Use your resources in the community. Talk to people.
Right.
You know, like I think what made us so successful in this security business, we used our resources.
Got it.
Like I said, I was the magistrate.
Yep.
My partner was a police officer, and so we used our resources to get contracts.
Got it.
You know, so he knew places.
Right.
I knew places that need security. We could just in general talking to people and so forth.
So you got to get out there and market
You
yourself.
Market yourself. Yeah, and you got to get out and work yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
and network.
Network. Still today, I'm out there working on posts every once in a while. You know, work with the officers. You know, they like to see the owners work.
They
not
do.
just be behind a desk all the time. You know, so you got to get out there and work.
Okay.
You know?
Love it. Love it.
It's great. It's great. Well, thank you. How can people reach out to you? I've used Millennium Security Services before.
Oh,
when I ran a nonprofit, we had an event, and at the space in the contract, it required security as a part of using the event space.
Gotcha.
It was a day event too, but you know, I've used them before. Amazing, top tier service as usual. But how do people get in contact with you if they want to use your service, or if they might want to be, you know, consider being, you know, employed by you all? How do they get in contact with you?
Right, so we have a website, www.millenniumsecurityservices.com. You can go on there and learn about our company. You can download an application. You can come by our office. We have an office located on Pantops, 182 Spotnut Road. Our office open Monday through Fridays from 8:30 to 5, so you can walk in anytime for the application. Our number, our phone number, fax number, all this on our website. Just come in.
Okay.
So, and just another note, our first break in security, the second biggest contract, start with your nonprofit. A lot of people don't know that. It start with your nonprofit that you used to work for.
Which one?
CFA.
Shut up!
Well, yeah, we worked. I wasn't talking about them. I was talking about another one. But we both, Yolanda and I, worked there years ago.
So CFA was our first major contract here in the
And
community.
I knew when you got on with them, I was like, oh. Exactly. That's a different conversation. I knew when you got on with them, I was like, oh, they get money over there.
So,
because we know how CFA, exactly, we know how they pay.
First major contract. And they saw us doing security at the Army Hotel for y'all
Christmas party.
Christmas party.
Oh yeah.
And they liked the way we did it, and the guy, the operation manager at the time, invited us to come over and talk. From there, you know, just
from there it's up.
It's up, went on up.
Yeah, CFA, they done put a couple people on.
But listen though, when I worked at CFA after that, it was up.
When I worked at CFA, after I left CFA, it was up for me.
It was up.
It was up. That's how I got into technology. It was up for me. Yeah, so no, that's what's up. So did you know the security guy when he gave you guys a break, or he just saw you guys'
just
work?
Saw us working over at the Army Hotel, you know, working the Christmas event. because I'm just winning our contracts back then.
Got it.
Oh, that was even a great contract.
Yep.
So before we let you go, so as far as contracts are concerned, do you have someone that does like grant writing and applying for contracts and stuff for you guys?
Me.
So you're doing that in-house.
Do it in-house. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, we try to handle much stuff in-house as possible.
Right, like you
Try
said,
to.
use your resources.
Use your resources, but some things we just can't handle.
Right.
We gotta bring people in.
Right. I got you.
Yep.
Wow.
All right, let's give it up one more time for Rovelle Brown. Millennium Security, Transportation. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. This is great.
It's great.
Okay, good.
All right.
That's it. It's a wrap, shorty. Hey.
I got drip and I got soul, so I got drip, so they gotta feel me before I go out or I fleet. You the mama north,